Hey, I want to show you a little bit of my writing process this morning. So, go in here. I have a little tiny room, probably 8 by 10 feet in here. It's I've had this for about a year. This is where I write and try to do my creative work. Try to soundproof it. Try to have some white noise going on just to kind of muffle things out. Earplugs in case the kids are running around the yard too loud or in the house. I have earplugs, earphones that I can put over just to really get quiet and get focused in here. But I wanted to show you a couple little things. I use the board broken into kind of 4 sections. I kind of follow the Save the Cat or Syd Field, Blake Snyder approach to get me to a certain point, and then at some point I throw that out and just try to be creative and try to follow my instinct, whatever that may be, to tell the best story that I can, something that's entertaining to me as I'm writing and reading, and then try to get a few readers. So I just finished this film, Finding Honjo. It's a story of forgiveness. I just kind of greenlit the script, in my world, meaning the script's ready to go into pre-production. I don't have financing, I don't have anything like that lined up. Starting to do the script breakdown and such to go. But here's kind of the end of that. I did this for a while, and then I jumped into the actual writing, and I haven't spent too much time on the board once I kind of got into the draft pretty deep and with a kind of a few passes. On the other side of the little room, I have another board, and so in theory I would have 2 scripts that I'm bouncing back and forth to. So this morning I'm going to start writing on here. I'm pulling up a script that I have a first act finished. It's been a few years. It's like 2010. I keep track on my laptop. I'll just tell you, I keep track on my laptop. I have a Word doc that every day I kind of give a quick little paragraph summary of where I'm at, how many hours I wrote, how much kind of progress. If there's questions I have, if there's focus that I have, I throw that onto this little doc. So I can go back and find out when I started writing, when I first had the idea, and kind of follow the process through it. I don't usually go back and research it too much unless there's a question that somebody asks, and I'll go and try to find it in I call it my log notes. Like this film, for instance, then I'm going to start putting up on this board today. I think I have notes from 2015 that are on there. So I know I've had this for almost 4 years or so working on this story. But right now I have the note card. So I did board it at one time, but I'm starting fresh. I haven't touched it let me see what my last notes are. I haven't touched it since the 10th of August in 2017, so it's been, a year and a half since I've done anything with it. So I'm probably going to start off really roughly with these note cards. I'll start throwing it up little by little on the board with, what's your opening image, your final image, and then some of those 15 beats of Save the Cat talks by. I'll get that just to start getting in my mind, and then I'll start going through those scenes and really start hashing it out here before I even jump in and read the first act. So that's kind of what my goal is today. I usually write, when I get in that writing mode, ideally a perfect world of mine is I would write 2 hours, 2 hours minimum every day. Sometimes it goes as much as into 3 or 4. After that, I kind of get in the point where my head's kind of spent. My creativity's a little bit spent. I like to write in the mornings. So right now it's a little after 9 a.m. I usually would like 9 to 11, 8 to 10, 8:30 to 10:30. Those 2 hours in there for me is kind of my focus, block the world out, and just jump into this writing world. I'm going to get swept away into that is kind of my ultimate goal. Is if I put in 2 hours a day, probably 5 to 6 days, Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'll jump in a Saturday without, kind of as a bonus day, and I'll write a couple of hours. And I can usually get a first draft done after I've done the board and stuff, usually pretty quick, 2 to 3 weeks maybe, sometimes a little faster, sometimes a little longer. But I can usually kind of call it the throw-up draft or whatever. I can usually pound through that pretty fast once I have a good board ready. So I love the board. It gives me, I'm more of a physical, writing down. I still kind of more analog stuff, writing on note cards, on paper, hitting the board with it, and then jumping in. And once I have that board, jumping in to the script. I've been very heavy outlining. My Legends from the Sky film, I was pretty intense on an outline. I had probably a 15 to 20 page outline, which is really like a heavy, in-depth outline using the 15 beats Save the Cat. I did that, and I liked that in a way, but I also, this past film, Finding Honjo, my most recent one, is I think I like it better where I'm not so heavy on the outline, that I'll do a little bit outline on those 15 beats, put them on the board, and then I'll just start going with scenes. Sometimes there's scenes that are in my head before I even start a movie. I'll start boarding those scenes right away. And so basically, here's what a card looks like. This is interior. This place happens to take place at a place in Shiprock called Chat and Chew. Meet Mike, chef hat and all, cooks up and delivers order after order. So this would be like one scene. This is the opening image of the current film that I have. I've tried in the past trying to get hold of Chat and Chew. I've never heard back from them. I don't know if they're interested in letting us come out and film there, but either way, it's a small little diner. As the story stands right now, that may change. I don't know once I get into it. So index cards, each index card represents a scene. Sometimes there's a card that will represent a little sequence, but I'll just go and start throwing those out here. So you get it blank slate, and then over here, kind of an in movie where I've already done the process. So that's probably more than you wanted to know. If you listened to all this, great. I'm still developing a process, and so that's just a little inside of what I'm up to today. Sorry I'm not clean shaven, or I did try to fix my hair a little bit before this, but anyway, that's all.